Can't have nice things around here. So other than lighting myself on fire, that went pretty well. We've got our seat bracket that we made. We got our seat. Let's mock it up. Things are going to be extremely tight. We don't have a lot of room up there by that fuel tank, and we also don't have a ton of room in between this caliper and the seat, but I think we can make it work. Just to be 100% sure everything fits, I'm going to grab the body, throw it on, and then I'm going to try to hop in this thing myself. That should be pretty entertaining. This is how people die. Okay, this is ridiculous, but I do think it'll work. The seat's a good height. I like where it's at. The steering wheel is actually not too bad where it's at. It's not ideal. I mean, this isn't where I would ideally put the steering wheel, but for the space we got, I think all this is gonna work. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to attach the seat. I do want that frame to be bolted in. That way I can pull it back out whenever I need to, and I can have access to that rear axle. Otherwise, if I weld the whole thing in, working around all that's going to be a pain, so I think bolting it in is going to be the way to go. But while I think about all that, in the meantime, I am going to weld in these two little components here, because right now the front half of the go-kart is connected to the rear half of the go-kart only in these two spots. So I want to strengthen that whole section up, and to do that, I'm going to be adding those two braces. Doing some simple math, that should be, we'll call it twice as strong. And some of my gaps turned out really good, and some other ones, I don't want to talk about it. So I'm thinking to mount this seat, I'm going to be using this 1.5 inch wide, 3/16 thick flat stock, and I'm going to weld a piece of it onto the bottom of the seat frame like so. And then I'll have another piece on the bottom, and I'm going to be connecting that with a couple of tubes. And then that way I'll have two of these sandwiched together, and I can run some bolts. And then that way this top piece will come off, and then this bottom plate with the tubes will stay on the cart. First thing I'm going to do is weld the flat stock onto the bottom of the seat bracket on both sides. Can't have nice things around here. I got my first plate ready to go. Now I cut a bevel into this side of the plate, and then on my square tube, and I cut down that corner. That's giving myself a nice groove. This is gonna have to be sanded nice and flush, and then the back side here is just gonna get a fillet weld. But I'm just tacking it for now, but I had to do all that prep ahead of time. So other than lighting myself on fire, that went pretty well. Check it out. I've got both of those wings tacked into place. Now you can see exactly how this is going to work. I got this bottom bracket, which is going to get bolted onto this top bracket. And then I plan on welding two tubes to that bottom bracket. And then that way, that bottom bracket will be attached to the frame. And then if I ever need to detach the seat bracket, I can just unbolt it and pull it off. It is a new day. I got another green shirt. This one doesn't have a hole in it, so things are looking up. Now I'm going to go ahead and start getting these tubes cut to attach that seat to the frame. There we have it. The seat frame is in, and I'm extremely happy with the way it looks. I think it looks really good. Now I do plan on building one more of these little tabs here, this little bracket assembly, and I want to weld it on the back of this frame here, and then I want to put two more support tubes going down to the frame as one more point of contact, because what I plan on doing is building something off the back of the seat frame that'll connect to this whole rear axle assembly to help stiffen that up and make that a lot stronger. I'm gonna cut out 2 more of these plates and 2 more of these tubes and get them tacked in the back there. Rookie mistake, completely forgot to turn the gas on for that first tack, so I'm gonna fix that and then I'll show you guys what we got. Man, look at this thing. Overbuilt? Yeah, I'd say so. It's pretty beefy. We'll be able to get some big boys and girls on here for sure when it's all done. And like I said, I plan on having this piece here support this secondary axle, so I think it turned out just fine. Well, of course I gotta test it out. A little tight in here, but that seat feels solid. Really liking where it's at. Unfortunately, to mount that seat, I need nuts and bolts for both the seat and then also for that frame. But I'm gonna be coming back here in the meantime, and I'm gonna work on this section here. I want to create 2 little braces that are gonna get welded in right here and right here, just to help stiffen this whole thing up. And if we come over to the scrap bucket, I'm gonna be using this piece right here. These rear supports are definitely going to add a ton of strength to this rear assembly. But that's all I got time for this week. Now next week I plan on bolting in that seat, and I also want to get that brake caliper back in. But if you guys are enjoying this build, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.